Universal Time.
I am in radio contact.
So we are back on the Advanced Computer Controls RC-850 repeater controller. And in the process of looking for something completely different, a friend of mine, Chris, was able to locate an Autopatch board in his storage. So we're going to take a look at that. One of the things I'd like to point out is a box this size only cost 85 cents to mail in October of 1989. And inside the box we got some notes here. We got fix patch prog v no reg board. Okay. We got a scratch pad that says Novation Communication Module PLI. We got a bag with the cable and screws.
Oh, look at that. They've even included the cable and screws. How thoughtful.
And we have the patch board itself. So, out of the wrapper, we have the TP2 telephone interface, which this is the one that is built around the Novation PLI module. Looking at the board underneath it, it looks like we may, if this is bad, we may be able to remove it and populate the parts underneath it to make it a regular Autopatch board. We got a missing chip here that we'll have to figure out what that was. We got the TLO64s that are about the same vintage. We got the NE571 compressor and expander chip. Looks like we have some of this corrosion. So we'll have to clean that up a little bit. The back side of the board, looks like we got some bodges. Kind of look like they want to be factory bodges, but yeah, we'll take what we can get. Alright, so having a look at the board, I can't really figure out what U2 was for, plus the components around it aren't populated, so I'm just going to assume they put the socket on for whatever reason, but then didn't put the rest of the supporting components there. But having to sniff around the board, there's all kinds of signs of this corrosion, like on resistor legs and on some pads and so forth. And the Novation Communications module, this is probably a board where they were waiting on FCC type acceptance for the phone line interface, so while they were waiting on that, they just were able to find this module off the shelf which has the type acceptance, and then they made the board to where once they got their type acceptance, they wouldn't have to buy this anymore and could save some money with their own design. But under that, we've got more of the corrosion, and yeah. So we'll get rid of these capacitors like we did before, and then probably dive into this and see what we can make play. Alright, I've got the 10 microfarad capacitors off the board, and there's a fair bit of corrosion under them, so it looks like they've been leaking and corroding the board in the process. So unfortunately we weren't able to get to this one early enough to prevent that, but I'm gonna try using my scratch brushes here to clean up the corrosion on the board the best I can, and hopefully we can get it back functional. I think that just lifted a pad. After brushing and clean up with some alcohol, this is how we were able to do. It's not perfect, but for today's purposes, that should get us going.
I picked up an RJ11 phone cord so that we can connect the telephone line to the jacks here on the new Autopatch board. They have to be ran through this little grommet that's on the side here. Well, snap. It would appear that as soon as we plug the Autopatch into a phone line, it goes off hook. So, guessing there's probably a problem in the Novation module here. Okay, so doing some investigation, I found that if I unplug the Autopatch board from the controller, the Autopatch goes back on hook. So I'm wondering if that's a programming thing, or maybe one of these transistors is bad. Alright, so I've made progress. After plugging in the bench's Test Master 3 mainframe into the RC-850, I discovered that the original program EEPROM, which was a AM9864 here, it was just filled with all kinds of weirdness and stuff that didn't make sense, and I'll probably read that and see if I can open it with the Inspector program, but I've burnt a new 28C64B with the factory default, and that's probably like the biggest flaw with the RC-850 and all the other controllers that ACC made is there's no way to default them in the field without replacing the double EEPROM with an image from a known good one or default image. But onto the Autopatch board. As it turns out, this is actually the TP1 Autopatch board, and you have to program a sequence, which I believe it was star 51050, to tell the controller that you have this specific interface, because the off-hook logic is actually inverted.
Autopatch 7533000.
Today's date is Sunday, March 29th. The current time is 9:46. The current temperature, 82. Thank you for calling.
Call complete at
2:25 p.m.
on
1.
Autopatch.
At the tone, 16 hours, 55 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
Call complete at
2:32 p.m.
on
1.
And that's all the time we have for today, so thank you for your time and try to enjoy yourselves the rest of the day.